and stop acting like your apathy is activism. We are not our ancestors. I used to hate that saying because it's disrespectful, but now I get it because our ancestors were brave. They were built different. And some of y'all are built like your ancestors because a lot of y'all had cowards for ancestors. And it shows. My ancestors were way too badass. I already know that I do not measure up, even though I practically live outside. But we are living through our government being taken over. Hiding in fear won't save you and has never won a battle. And it will not win you your freedom either. So if you're too scared to come outside, fine. We heard you the first 50 times you said it. Cool. Stay inside because the rest of us are working. But I will say that I believe that the people who put us in this mess need to be on the front lines.
Hello, good people. I hope that you are doing fine this last Monday of 2025. And today, let us remind ourselves that the Black Americans cannot save democracy by staying indoors. I know that these people feel betrayed. These people are tired. The promises that are made during elections are broken after the elections. But history is teaching us one thing. The rights the Black Americans are enjoying today, they came from action and not silence. Democracy doesn't collapse in a single day. It collapses slowly when people stop participating, when people stop voting, and when people stop showing up. Sitting at home may feel resistance, but in reality, it's creating a vacuum. And that vacuum is filled by people who do not care about Black lives. Democracy doesn't wait for us to feel comfortable. It keeps moving with us or without us. And if Black Americans step back completely, history shows we lose ground. Welcome back to Polito Realities, a channel that handles real discussions. If you are new here, take a minute to subscribe, to like, and to share today's video. Stay tuned as we unwrap what we have today.
The reason why we fast forward to today, and a lot of Black Americans said, we are cool. We are going to stay out the way, let y'all have it. Because every single group, not just the folks, but every single group in this country has never appreciated Black America for anything that we did. You have immigrants in this country that wouldn't even have an opportunity to come here. It wouldn't be for Black Americans. And do you know what these immigrants say? They don't say that it was us that helped them get over here. They want to give credit to the white people. Like the white people really wanted them here. When we tell them, hey, let's join together because, minority coalition, Black and brown, Black and Asian, right? No, you don't want it. You only want it when white people are attacking them. And then after white people get off their back, because we joined it and they getting on us, they fall to the back and they get the benefits. While we get demonized, and those same people that we join with, we're joining with the demonization of Black Americans. We've seen it time and time. We're
living in another moment in history where democracy is fragile. Once again, Black political voices are being dismissed while being correct. Historically, whenever fascism rises, Black communities typically recognize it early. Not because we're pessimistic, but because we've already lived through the first drafts. We saw it after Reconstruction. We saw it during Jim Crow. We saw it during attacks on voting rights. We saw it when we were being hosed down and dragged out of restaurants. We have seen authoritarian language be normalized and encoded into law in every decade that this nation has been a country. And today, when Black elected officials warn you about bigotry, political violence, reckless nationalism, they're not just speculating. They are reading a history book accurately and out loud to the nation. These aren't epiphanies. This is not like mind reading. This is literally the script that our country was built on. Not only would America do it, America has done it repeatedly, time and time again.
2025 has been kind of crazy, and before you know it, it's going to be time to vote again. Tuesday, November 7th, 2028 is when we'll be voting for our next president. So from here until then, don't make the mistake of listening to these type of people. Roland Martin, Don Lemon, Charlemagne the God, Amanda Seals, Joyanne Reed, Angela Rye, Conscious Lee, you, the entire panel, D.L. Hughley, Ricky Smiley, and Steve Harvey. None of them. Willie D, Al Sharpton, Umar Johnson, Jamal Bryant, Deontay Kyle, Barack Obama, not black, Kamala Harris, not black, Cory Booker, halfway black, Hakeem Jeffries, halfway black, Jasmine Crockett, and last but not least, BLM. Every single chapter. Name one thing that any of the people that I just list that they were right on when it comes to what's going to happen to black folks here in America. They've all been wrong. They've all sold us a dream. They've all sold us hope, just like Obama did in 08. Literally nothing these people have said has came true except everything that's going on with immigration. And I hate to be the one to say it, but immigration does nothing for black Americans. Absolutely nothing. It benefits us zero. So this next election cycle, we need to be voting for the candidate who is going to tangibly help us. We don't care about how we feel. We care about what's going to be done for us. We need to become the same way that they put money behind people who are going to do their bidding. We need to be doing the same thing. So I don't care if we have to crowdfund, whatever we have to do to raise money for these elected officials to do what's best for black Americans. That's what we need to be doing. Those are the people who we need to be voting for. There is no left and right. That shit is over. That's two wings of the same bird. Left hand, right hand, one body. It's the same thing. So we can't go off of that anymore. That's old and played out. It never served black Americans. Now, if it's anybody that you guys want to add to that list, go ahead and add them in the comments, because I'm pretty sure there's hundreds of people that I forgot because the boule is so big. But in 2028, we're not listening to the black boule no more. We're voting for who's going to help us the most. We don't care about left or right.
Y'all remember when Donald Trump said this?
African Americans built this nation. You built this nation. You know, you're just starting to get real credit for that. Okay, I don't know if you know that. You're just starting to get, you built the nation. We all built it, but you were such a massive part of it. Bigger than you were given credit.
Hold up, black Americans. Don't get ahead of yourself. Just when you thought you getting your just due and recognition, somebody else is here to take it away.
So Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, I have 4 words for you. Turn the volume up. New York will remain a city of immigrants, a city built by immigrants, powered by immigrants, and as of tonight, led by an immigrant.
Let them tell it. Donald Trump is trying to erase black American history when he just gave credit. Now, out of my dummy's mouth, black Americans didn't have anything to do with the infrastructure. Black Americans didn't have anything to do with the foundation. When it's historically proven that black Americans built New York, laid the roads, the ports, was a major factor in the development of this nation as a whole. But let Madami tell it, black Americans had nothing to do with the development or infrastructure. Immigrants came to this country and this country was already built, developed. Black Americans even paved the right way for them to come here. The Immigration and Nationality Act of 1964-65.
So there's this one thing that has always bugged me about the way we talk about the black community, like it's something that somehow needs to be fixed. But I think what we don't realize is that the perspective of the black community is exactly what we need right now in this national moment. What the black community has seen and experienced is the dark underbelly of America, from slavery to today. They've seen the horrific things that greed will make people do and the way that those things are justified, often in the name of God. And we need their perspective. We need their wisdom because we can't change what we refuse to acknowledge. And if we refuse to acknowledge the fact that the greed and the racism that we all see in Trump and MAGA, well, it's been here all along. And until we're willing to listen and to learn from the black community, to learn the truth not about black history, but about our history, and to turn back to the true ways of God and Jesus, we're just going to keep repeating that history in the worst way possible.
Is that your way of saying that you felt the left did that to us, that they just disregarded black folks?
Stephen A., they've been giving us the middle finger since I can remember. all the way back from the Ku Klux Klan. They have never supported black people whatsoever. They hoodwinked us into getting us on food stamps and getting us with government assistance, having us to abandon our own success. We had our own bus line. We had our own schools. We had all this stuff. They tricked us into believing that the white man was the cure to our own issues.
Okay.
They tricked us. And then now look at us, Stephen A. They don't have to bid for our vote. They got our vote hook, line, and sinker.
Well,
so they're
part-
never going to do nothing for us.
That part I get. But when you say they did nothing, I'm thinking about civil rights legislation. I'm thinking about infrastructure. I'm thinking about Jim Crow laws, the eradication of it. I'm thinking about the access to capital that
Stephen
was
A.
given that black folks had dating from the 60s and beyond that we didn't have before that. Are you saying that's the
Stephen A.,
Republicans?
that's Republican, unanimous Republican votes for the civil rights. The Democrats filibustered the Civil Rights Act, the longest filibuster in history until Booker just did what he did. But the Democrats were not in support of that. That was the Republican Party that was in support of that. And then let's go down the list. If these things were benefiting black people, why are we still complaining today? We've been voting for Democrats for, 40, 50 years now, lockstep, and we still complaining. We still don't have the rights that we want. We still don't have equality in America. Racism is still plaguing our community, according to black people. So what have they been doing this whole time? And when you look at it, they have just secured our vote, and they don't have to do nothing for us. And this is what we've created, Stephen A. We've created an environment where we don't benefit from none of it because the Democrats don't have to work because they know they already got us. The Republicans don't need to work because they can win without us.
This is a rant. I know this video will probably not be seen by many, but here I go anyway. For generations, the black community in the United States has been treated not as equal partners in democracy, but as political tools to mobilize when numbers are needed, but ignored when justice is demanded or received, and scapegoated when outcomes don't work out. Across the political spectrum, from progressives to MAGA, the pattern is always the same. Black people are courted as voters, but rarely respected as collaborators with independent power, agency, and enforceable demands. This exploitation is not accidental. It is structural and strategic. Political parties depend on predictable voting blocks. Media outlets depend on simplified narratives that maintain existing power arrangements, like the two-party system that no longer works. Politicians depend on our turnout without accountability, on the treatment of our community. PACs and donor classes get priority when it comes to receiving demands after they've been elected. Money gives them stability with no transformation of the current system required. In this system, the black community is often positioned as the moral conscience of the nation, expected to vote for the greater good, to be patient, to compromise, and to sacrifice again and again and again, even when the policies being defended fail to materialize any improvement to black lives. We are told to vote defensively rather than strategically, to vote out of fear rather than leverage, to accept symbolic victories instead of structural change. They even got some of y'all believing that black power is some negative phrase that sows division and hate, when really black power just means equality for all black people, which is only gained by building political and economic power on our own. Equality for black folks, that's it. So ask yourself why anyone would have a problem with us fighting for that in this so-called democracy. Because this is a racist society that has put black folks at the bottom since the inception of this stolen America. And everybody wants to pretend that it's not that way. But we can't pretend because we live with it every moment of our black lives. When black communities raise independent demands on health care, housing, policing, education, wealth building, or foreign policy, like the genocides going on in the Sudan and the Congo, we are then accused of being selfish, unrealistic, or my favorite, divisive. When we threaten to change our vote, we are scolded. When we organize independently, we are surveilled. When we ask for concrete returns on our political loyalty, we are told what? To wait at the end of the line, So our schools stay underfunded, our hospitals close down, our food deserts increase. More and more police take out more and more unarmed Black people every day. More and more guns and drugs end up on our blighted streets. Longer sentences are given out based upon proximity to Blackness. And on top of all that, you want us to be one-issue voters. This is how pawns are treated, not partners. Black political concerns are often framed only through crisis, trauma, or morality, rather than power and policy. Our interests are filtered through what makes other groups comfortable or what is electorally convenient. Black voters are rarely presented as a constituency with negotiable demands because we ain't got no power. Instead, we are portrayed as a dependable base whose support is assumed but never earned. And just to be clear, other ethnic groups, in contrast, are allowed to operate as power blocks. They negotiate, they withhold support, they demand policy concessions, they have built institutions, they receive targeted benefits. Their self-interest is recognized as rational politics. Imagine that. Black self-interest is too often labeled what? Dangerous or extremist, radical. This imbalance is not accidental, it's strategic and profitable. In moral debates, Black voices set the tone. In cultural influence, Black people are the culture. We shape the narrative of that nation. The power that has been extracted without being converted into enforceable gains. That must stop. The end of this exploitive cycle does not begin with loyalty. It begins with leverage. It begins when the Black community collectively rejects the idea that our role is to save everyone else while remaining politically destitute. It begins when we organize around our own political and economic agenda, define our own priorities, and refuse to be shamed for demanding policies that save Black people's lives. Our lives are on the line here. And these people want to play political games with our lives because every right we've gained as a community has had a positive effect on every other minority group. So I don't want to hear any talk about, oh, y'all just out for yourselves and blah, blah, blah. Everything we've ever done has trickled down to everyone else. Read a book. This is not about voting for or against any one party. This is about building our own power block, our own infrastructure. This is about ending a system where Black political behavior is predictable, but Black progress is non-existent. Democracy is not charity. Votes are not gifts. The power is never given, it's taken by any means necessary. The Black community does not need permission to act on its own interests. What is needed now is clarity, unity, and the courage, my God, the courage to break from a political tradition that treats us as tools rather than equals. The cycle can be broken, but only if we're ready to stop the exploitation of our people. I am currently working with Black community leaders, organizing us to do just that. Community control is possible by building our own political infrastructure, starting with forming a Black-led party that will not run a presidential candidate, so just calm down, but instead focus on mayoral campaigns, state legislatures, governor seats, city council, the school board, to build power where we live, community control. You understand? And that political power will evoke economic power as a byproduct. That's how it works. This is exactly what they don't want us to do. This has always been the solution. Our heroes throughout our ancestry have told us time and time again that organizing the masses of Black people, building our own power structure, our own infrastructure is the only route. It's the only road towards equality. They're not going to give it. We have to take it. We have to build it. We have to be ready to step into these responsibilities and do for our community what this society refuses to do, because it refuses to even acknowledge how racist it is. That's what you're dealing with. Somebody's got a gun to our head and they swear it's not a gun. I love you, Black man. I love you, Black woman. Knowledge is power. Power.
Hello again and welcome back to our discussion today. And honestly, I must admit that Black Americans are tired and that exhaustion is now justified. From police brutality to economic inequality, many feel that democracy has not worked for themselves. But walking away doesn't punish the system, but it weakens our voice inside it. Remember that our ancestors did not gain rights by staying home. These people marched, they organized, and they voted even when it was extremely dangerous. When Black people disengage, policies are written without us in mind. Not voting is not a neutral act. It helps whoever already holds the power. Silence is not protest. It is permission. Democracy is very messy and it's also very unfair, but it is still a tool. You don't wait for a tool to be perfect before using it. You use it to fix what is actually broken. Young Black voters matter. Community voices also matter. Local elections matter just as much as national ones. If we disappear, democracy won't stop. It will simply ignore us. And the ones that are ignored here are the Black voices. They are the Black Americans. Black Americans have never been served by silence. It needs going to the streets, saying what you feel, even if it feels dangerous, just like our ancestors. Democracy isn't protected by staying home, remaining silent. It's protected by participation, pressure, and persistence. Black Americans, it may feel dangerous or it may feel tired fighting the systems. But remember one thing, you need to survive in America. If you feel that this conversation touched you, leave your thoughts in the comment section so we can open up what we can do to save our Black Americans. Until next time, be grounded, stay informed, and enjoy this festive season while thinking what is really happening in America, especially what affects the Blacks. Until next time, be blessed.